Alright guys, Wes here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy again. And now that the game has been out for quite a while, we're going to talk about what the future holds for the game, as well as the entire franchise. So whether that's a sequel, Hogwarts Legacy 2, or if it's a DLC or an expansion that adds content to the Hogwarts Legacy game, we're going to talk about that and more, so definitely stick around until the end. You guys do not want to miss out. So Hogwarts Legacy, as you guys know, was a runaway success, destroying all sales expectations and quickly becoming one of the most acclaimed licensed games of all time. But this game isn't just a great licensed game, it's a great RPG in its own right. And now that Hogwarts Legacy's been out for a bit and people have been able to complete the game, there's been a ton of conversation about what is next for the Hogwarts Legacy game and the series, and that is going to be today's topic of discussion. Will we get an expansion or some kind of smaller DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, or will it be the next installment in the series, Hogwarts Legacy 2? So we're going to go over absolutely everything we know about a potential DLC or expansion, and if you think you know everything already, make sure you stick around until the end of the video, because you may have missed a few important details over the last few weeks. Real quick guys, I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 and a game copy of your choice for 110,000 subscribers. To enter, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, comment your Twitter handle, tweet me proof that you're subscribed, and tag me in the tweet at WesNemo. The links are in the pinned comment. Hogwarts Legacy of course dropped in early 2023 in February and quickly became one of the biggest successes in recent history. Despite the negative reputation of licensed video games and all of the controversy surrounding J.K. Rowling, Hogwarts Legacy sold over 12 million with an M copies in just 2 weeks, which generated over $850 million in gross revenue. The game topped Steam, PSN, Xbox, and the Epic Game Store charts all at once before it even released, and stayed there for a very impressive length of time after launch. In under 2 weeks of being on the market, Hogwarts Legacy racked up 267 million hours of playtime across all platforms and still holds the record for the most concurrent viewers on Twitch for a single player game. So it goes without saying that this is the type of game that a publisher would want to keep in the public's eyes, but judging from recent statements by both WB and the developer Avalanche Software, the situation regarding an expansion, DLC, or even Hogwarts Legacy 2 isn't that simple. Despite the insane sales of the games, both WB and Avalanche have been tight-lipped on any kind of expansion. Leading up to the game's release, the team made it very clear that they weren't planning anything for post-launch content, but most of us just assumed that they would announce plans for an expansion once the sales numbers came out. But then surprisingly, Avalanche once again then stated that there are no plans currently for an expansion, and they said this recently at an IGN event. Now on one hand, I can totally understand that WB and Avalanche are not wanting to plan too far in advance, especially for a risky game like this one, since nobody really knew if it was going to be a successful game or not, especially leading up to the release due to all of the controversy attached to the IP's creator. But now that it's been made very clear that Hogwarts Legacy is a successful game despite these circumstances, it's pretty shocking that nobody involved with its creation seems to be interested in a paid expansion. Regardless of what the developers said or what the current plan is, one thing that cannot be denied is there is no way that WB haven't thought about pushing out some kind of DLC going forward. Hogwarts Legacy defied all expectations and completely shook off all of the negative press leading up to the launch to become one of the highest grossing video games of the last decade and easily one of the highest grossing licensed games of all time, not to mention the fact that it is a serious Game of the Year contender. With how much talk there's been surrounding some kind of expansion for Hogwarts Legacy, I find it hard to believe that WB and Avalanche haven't had any discussions about it. There are tons of directions that a Hogwarts Legacy DLC could go in, and I don't think it would take too long for the team to put something together. In previous videos, I said that Hogwarts Legacy has somewhat of a time limit before an expansion pack becomes irrelevant, but interestingly enough, I think Elden Ring has destroyed that idea. I mean, just really think about it. A few years ago, a single player RPG would have about a year or maybe a year and a half to get a major expansion out in the wild before it's too late. Live service games and multiplayer focused games have a bit more time on the clock because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to last for a long time, but single player games usually only have a year or so of shelf life before they become quote unquote old hat to the gaming community, at which point a major expansion just isn't worth the time investment, especially considering the fact that if they release a DLC like 2 years after, then they could have taken that time and actually spent it on a sequel game. But in the case of Hogwarts Legacy, I just don't think that's actually the case. And if you need proof of that, just look at Elden Ring. Elden Ring may have multiplayer elements, but it's still a story-driven RPG that's being treated like a traditional single-player game by its publisher, Bandai Namco. Elden Ring was a tremendous success, and it was announced not too long ago that the first paid expansion is in development, but it's not expected to launch for quite a while. Hogwarts Legacy's sales numbers haven't been revealed fully just yet, but when it does, it is surely going to break some records, especially if they surpass Elden Ring in terms of sales. So if Elden Ring is getting a late DLC, then there's really no reason why Hogwarts Legacy shouldn't, at least from the publisher's perspective. There is the reality that the reason that Hogwarts Legacy is not going to do expansions is so that they could release a second game, so they could focus all of their development on working on Hogwarts Legacy 2 2 or just another game in the Harry Potter universe. Now, Game Rant recently posted an article proposing what they think could be a really solid expansion for Hogwarts Legacy, and I think they made some really good arguments. I'll put the link to the article in the description. The article explains that despite potions being a huge part of the Harry Potter universe, they're barely touched on in Hogwarts Legacy, and this is the perfect opportunity for Avalanche to satisfy the calls for DLC while also expanding upon this missed avenue for gameplay. By doing some kind of massive potions update, they could add more to the potions class while also changing how potions impact the gameplay, and they could add a ton of additional potions to the mix to expand the world building. This would be a great way to add some more content without demanding too much from Avalanche. So rather than it being a big expansion, it's mainly just a DLC update that improves one aspect of the game. That's a solid quality of life improvement. Now, one of the reasons that Hogwarts Legacy didn't go crazy in terms of adding a ton of spells and dozens of potions from the Harry Potter universe is mainly done for two reasons. One, the fact that the development time is limited, and two, it leaves new content for them to accomplish in the second game. That is, if they decide to greenlight a sequel. If you look at a game like Breath of the Wild, obviously Breath of the Wild is packed full of content, but some of these systems were deliberately held back with the hopes of either a big expansion, which that's what Tears of the Kingdom started as, was an expansion, that then they decided that their ideas were too ambitious, and that's why they made Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm not saying that Hogwarts Legacy was a bare bones game. There was a ton of content, especially in terms of different spells and different potions. But the fact of the matter is there is a ton of spells in the Harry Potter universe. So one of the reasons that they didn't add them all to the first game is in the hope of either a giant expansion or a second game. I believe that Hogwarts Legacy is almost certainly getting some kind of sequel, and while nothing is confirmed just yet, WB have suggested that they want the game to become a long-term franchise. Plus, after the insane success of the first game and the insanely rich universe that it's based on, there's practically a 0% chance that WB doesn't try to make some kind of follow-up in a few years. It's also reported that HBO is going to develop a Hogwarts Legacy series, so it makes sense that the Hogwarts Legacy franchise as a whole continues in some way or another. A sequel is one of the reasons why I think that Avalanche seemed kind of uninterested in Hogwarts Legacy DLC, because they're saving all of their new ideas for the sequel. And honestly, that might be the case. Hogwarts Legacy is a massive game that's absolutely jam-packed with content, so any kind of DLC or expansion would also have to be something pretty big, which would take quite a bit of time to make and probably be better suited as a selling point for a future game. For instance, I know a lot of people are wanting a Quidditch DLC or something like that, but let's be honest, WB would probably rather hold on to something like Quidditch or a new iconic location for their next game instead of add it to the existing one, because if you think about it, the sequel is going to be kind of hard to market without those massive additions. Hogwarts Legacy already has some of the most iconic Harry Potter universe locations and spells, so if there's anything that the team comes up with that wasn't in the launch version of the game, WB and Avalanche Software probably see the value in holding on to them and using them as selling points for a future installment, which is the main reason why we're probably not going to see House Cup, Quidditch, Wizard's Chess, or anything big like that until the next game, if they even decide to do those features. Assuming we do get DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, I think it's going to be something mid-sized, like a big potions update, maybe new updates to the Vivarium, new prefabs for building inside of the Room of Requirement, maybe seasonal content, or rather holiday-themed seasonal content, new fantastic beasts added to the game for us to go out and catch. And just overall, whenever I think about an update or DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, I'm picturing it like Animal Crossing New Horizons, where they add new creatures and decorations based on the seasons. Hogwarts Legacy's Room of Requirement and the different Vivariums really are treated like sandbox elements, so if they continue to update the Vivariums with new fabrications, new fantastic beasts that we can find in the game world, and different themed Vivariums that they add to the game would be a really awesome feature, at least some content to hold us over until they release a big expansion, or hopefully, my fingers are crossed, Hogwarts Legacy 2. So what do you guys think about all this? Do you think that there's going to be a Hogwarts Legacy DLC confirmed in the near future, or do you think Warner Bros is going to make sure all of Avalanche's good ideas are saved for the sequel? Personally, I'm a little in the middle. I don't think any of the major features people have been asking for, like Quidditch or map expansions, are going to be added to the game because they are far too ambitious to be finished in a reasonable amount of time, although I am absolutely positive that they'll be in the next game. As for future content for Hogwarts Legacy, I am almost positive that there will be some kind of post-launch support because the game is too big to not get something, and I'd love to see some new classes added to the mix and perhaps some new potions and spells, but mainly just fantastic beasts and different items for our Vivarium. But like I said, I think the most likely scenario is some kind of seasonal event for upcoming holidays, and definitely a winter overlay with tons of snow and new outfits for players to unlock. Or maybe I'm wrong and WB genuinely wants to make sure this game doesn't get any post-launch support, which I think would be a huge letdown, but I guess we will just have to wait and see. Let me know what you think about Hogwarts Legacy DLC plans in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed with your notifications turned on. Be sure to like the video and don't forget to enter my 110,000 subscriber PS5 giveaway, given away at PS5 and a game copy of your choice. So if that's Spider-Man 2, Hogwarts Legacy, God of War Ragnarok, to enter, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, comment your Twitter handle, tweet me proof that you're subscribed, tagging my Twitter at WesNemo, and I've also included bonus entries in the pinned comment. Thank you all for watching. This has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.